One of those who witnessed the lunchtime horror is the President of the Urological Society of Australia and New Zealand, Dr David Malouf, who's in Christchurch for its annual conference. The 600 people at the event, including 450 Australians, were spread across the convention centre and a nearby hotel. Both buildings are badly damaged. Earlier tonight I spoke to Dr Malouf from Christchurch. Dr Malouf, you've clearly been through a dreadful ordeal. Can you tell us exactly where you were when the earthquake happened and what you experienced?
I was in the foyer of the Crown Plaza, which is one of the hotels in the centre of town, and it was extraordinary. About 12:45, there was this almighty roar. It was a noise like you've never heard before, and the whole building began to shake, and it was knocking people off their feet. It was really very dramatic. The chandeliers were swinging, bits of ceiling were falling from the sky. The glass windows, the huge plate glass windows at the front of the hotel, were shattered. It really was, like something I've never seen before.
You must have been absolutely terrified. What was going through your mind? Did you know what was going on, that it was an earthquake?
Well, after a second or two, it became apparent it was an earthquake. I've never been in an earthquake before, but it had to be an earthquake. And honestly, I didn't have time to be terrified. I figured that where I was wasn't safe. I'm going to make a beeline for the centre of the atrium where the lift shafts are. And I figured if anything was going to be strong, that would be it. And that's where we basically rode out the storm. And for 45 to 60 seconds, the building just shook and shook and shook. And bits of plasterboard and concrete dust was falling from the ceiling. It was really, quite extraordinary.
And what did you do then? Did you try to get out of the building as soon as you could?
We did. Essentially, the entire plate glass windows at the front had shattered. So exiting the building was just a case of walking through where the windows used to be, out onto the street, and people would file out of various buildings just looking completely stunned.
And what was the reaction on the streets? Was it a state of panic, or what were people doing?
Well, to be honest, I'm with a large contingent of Australians at a scientific meeting, at a Urological Society meeting, and the Australians were just stunned and bewildered. The Kiwis looked, quite frightened. They've obviously been through something very similar a few months ago, and I think they appreciated the implications of the shake more than we did. I mean, it really was a big shake by earthquake standards.
And what could you see all around you when you got out onto the street? Was there destruction everywhere?
Well, looking back to the hotel, many of the windows at the front of the hotel were shattered. There were large gaping holes in the concrete structure of the building. There are some buildings very close by which have completely collapsed, and you could see where the repairs from the previous quake have almost been completed, and suddenly it's just been completely destroyed all over again. People were frightened. People were very, very frightened. People have said to me, they thought that was going to be it.
Did you feel that?
To be honest, it was a case of just get somewhere safe. I really didn't have time to think about what was going to follow in the next minute or two. I mean, if the building had come down, I would have been in a bit of trouble. But as it was a case of just, hiding under some shelter in and around the lifts and waiting for it to stop. But what's been quite disturbing are the number of aftershocks. And certainly they haven't been as powerful as the initial ones, but they're enough to make you want to sit down on the ground. And, the trees rock and people have that look of fear on their faces. The ground starts to shake all over again.
Now, I understand there are 600 of you there for the conference. Are you all safe and sound? Are you all accounted for?
But we haven't accounted for everybody, but there are a couple of other evacuation centres, and hopefully as the day goes on, it's getting cold and dark here in New Zealand at the moment, we'll be able to sort of account for everybody else. I'm not aware of any casualties. There's been a couple of minor injuries. Sadly, I hear that there have been a number of fatalities in the centre of town, and that's obviously tragic, absolutely tragic.
And what is the mood there now? Are people still in shock, or are they starting to figure out what happened and try to move on?
People are starting to essentially settle down for the evening. We're in a park where there are a large number of evacuees. They're sitting on benches. They're sitting on wooden planks to keep off the cold grass. We're told there's going to be some food and water arriving shortly. People are sitting on chairs under tarps just trying to keep warm at the moment, to be honest.
Where are you going to spend the night? There's a lot of you to try and get accommodation for. Could you be staying in that park?
The civil defence people are just making sure that some marquees which have been erected over in the park are secure. and I understand that that's going to be the place where people are accommodated.
Do you think there are going to be a lot of people in Christchurch tonight with nowhere to stay?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the main quadrangle in the centre of town has been completely evacuated. It's a no-go zone. The hotel people are telling us that we might be able to go back in 24 hours, might be 48 hours. We might never be able to go back. If the buildings are so badly damaged, it's not safe to re-enter. They'll just bulldoze them, and that's what happened after the last quake, apparently. And that's got implications for all of the Australians here, because our passports, our wallets, our travel documents, they're all in the hotel room and we can't get back. So as it stands, there are 300 passport-less Australians over here at the moment who are really looking for a way home. To be honest, Christchurch is going to have enough problems dealing with its own population without having to sort of feed and look after all of us as well.
So it is your hope to try and get out of there as soon as you possibly can?
Look, there's really nothing for us to do. We've offered to go to the hospitals to help. They seem to be coping at the moment. So, looking after 300 or 400 Australians in the middle of a park, I'm sure the Christchurch authorities could use those resources more effectively.
Dr. Malouf, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us tonight in very difficult circumstances. Thank you.
No problems.